In this video, I wanted to try to talk about the things that I found really exciting in this match, and the types of plays that I find exciting in general in high-level Puyo. So this opponent was really strong, and the results make it look like they're the strongest player in this group by quite a bit, and so you could expect that they're going to make a lot of really strong plays. So I want to try and point out some of the things that you might not notice if you're not at a really high level. So here, if I want, I can look to attack on the right side with a 2 or 3 chain, but they're looking to defend with the 3 chain on the yellows, and they have a chance to keep building. And so it's not the most powerful attack, so it's not one that you want to focus on unless you think they're really weak. But these are the types of things that I look at because I tend to be lean towards being aggressive. So they're just going to be pretty safe with this shape, but it's a bit weak, so they have to be a little bit careful if I try to send like a really big 3 chain. They have to do something, but they're going to have ways to do something. So I'm doing something pretty similar where I have a 3 chain with the purple blue. So, but again, I have to watch if they try to send like a really big 2 or 3 chain, I would have to extend that. But I could potentially do it, so it's not like I'm really vulnerable. Here, when they go to the purple, they're going to the 4 chain, or even like a 5 chain if you add in the greens, and they can poke on the right side. Here, it looks like they want to send a 1 chain, but it's not clear if they will or not, and they didn't. So now it looks like it might just be, it's going to be a top of the field battle. And then this one I kind of got lucky because I sent the 1 chain and then they build up. But here I'd say we were both pretty defensive. There weren't any powerful attacks really set up on either side, so there wasn't much to look at in that regard. Here I'm looking at the big 1 chain, so already they have to be a little bit cautious about that. But if they can build their left side up tall, then even if they get like 3 lines of garbage, it's not going to stop them. So here the left side, now they put this in, so now I have a chance, but the challenge with this attack is that you have to draw the 1/8 piece. So you only have a 1 in 8 chance of drawing it every time you draw a piece, and if you just don't draw it, you can't send the attack. But here they're going to get a little bit of garbage. Now it's really tough. So here I have the piece, but they're sending their main chain, so I have to try and convert into a normal chain, which I think is possible. So the double blue. I needed the yellow though. I needed the yellow here, and I also wasn't going to make it in time. So there haven't been any big attacking and defending interactions just yet. Here though, I'm making an early attack again. So this one, they can't necessarily just build up tall depending on how powerful the attack is, so. And now, they have 5 though if they set off on the purples. So I can't really commit. And now it's gonna be a normal match just with a bit awkward forms. Here, it really just looks like they're gonna send main chain, and that's about it. I don't know if I meant to do that, cause yeah, I didn't mean to do that pop either. Well. This one, I think they thought I was gonna send even more, but it was pretty close. But so I probably would have won the round even if they didn't give up. I'm looking for the more interesting mid-game situations, and there haven't really been too many just yet. Here they have their whole chain connected, but they're probably going to build on top and make something defensive. And on my side, I'm building like a defensive shape where I don't have to connect my main chain. So I have ways to make like 3, 4, or 5. Here again, I can make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm like really flexible here, and I can't really be attacked, but I don't have a powerful attack either. So my play would kind of be more focused on getting a good main chain set up and then countering if they decide to attack with something. And on their side, they're trying to build on top, I think, to make a similar type thing. And they don't have to defend immediately because I don't have a powerful attack just yet. But I can poke with this 2 chain because they don't really have anything to defend with either. That's very effective. And it looks like they're actually just main chaining with the greens on the right, but they're not going to get the greens in time. But they're still going to have access, and when they clear the purples, they have a 2 chain, so it's not clear how this is going to play out. So here's a 3 chain, because I'm trying to put a lot of pressure because they don't have a good defense. The best they can do is, if they get the right colors, they can main chain. But I can still potentially win anyway by out extending them if they send their main chain. So that's why I'm trying to be really aggressive here, because they don't have any solid defense. So this isn't me just like sending because I feel like it. It's more like I'm trying to be aggressive at this moment because they don't have much that they can do to counter very strongly. So here I'm pressing as much as I can and trying to gain an advantage. And here they're gonna set it off, but it's gonna come down to the extension. This is something where I consider it an advantage, but it depends on if you are able to convert it or not, and I wasn't able to do it. But I would say I played the mid game well enough to where I had an advantage. I just couldn't win off of it. Here, you can already see them setting up for multiple stacking, but if they commit the yellow, they aren't going to be very flexible, most likely. Here they might attack with the 2 chain just because of the shape. Or if they do this down, they're going to be building towards like a 4 chain, but they don't have it immediately. Here I'm building towards a 3 chain, but again, they're building towards a 4 chain, so I wouldn't attack with that. But when you see them put the double red, they're kind of committing, so now you have to watch, because they're going to look to attack with it. So this 3 chain probably isn't enough, so I don't think I'm going to send it, because I see the 3 double looming right there. So I don't send the 3 chain, but I thought about it. So now I'm trying to build to a 4 chain to counter the 3 double. So if I can just draw the yellows, I'll have the counter. So that's like, I'm really going for that. Except they made it a 3 triple. So my 4 chain has a good amount of power with the big red connection, and that allows me to counter back. But so this is like, there's interactions happening here. Like, if I saw they had nothing, I would be looking to send this 3 chain, but I see they're building towards like a 4 chain. And then again, here's the decision point, but like, again, now they're committing to a 3 double type shape, so it looks like they're going to be the aggressor and I need to defend against that. And so I see that and I build up something that will counter what they're going for. And then the rounds are going to go on from here, and it's pretty even. So now we're going to do the same thing. So it's like, here they might build towards a 4 chain with the yellow, red, purple, blue with the double blues. Here I can easily make a bigger 4-chain with the big blue connection, so they have to be careful because that's where it looks like I'm going to go with this. I can either put the, and there's the blue. So now I'm going to have a big 4-chain. They're committing main chain with that red. Now they aren't very flexible. So if I could make something small, that'd probably be what I want to do. But sometimes it's hard to find those small attacks when you want them. But there's a 2 double here if I want it. I can also just try to outchain them because it looks like it looks like it'll be close. See, this is a really good small attack because again, it looks like they're pretty much committing to main chain. So when you know that, you don't need to send something big, you just need to send something really small like a 1 or a 2 chain. And then that can be enough to either make them fill up from it by itself, or it can get them to set off their chain before they finish it. So here, they're like almost filling up, and now I can continue pressing and try and force them to set something off. And now I have the advantage because they were forced to set something off, but they don't have the red anymore, so I have to get my chain off quickly. And I don't think I got it. Yeah. So that's it. But I would say again, I played the mid game really well, and a lot of these kinds of small interactions that you can't really see because nothing happened are what are really interesting to me about like the mid game. So here I'm doing a bit of a surprise attack, so they're a bit slow on their. So if you look at the way they built their transition late, which means their multiple stacking is going to be late, which means they're like normal counters that most people at this level go for. That's going to be late as well. So I think I actually saw that while playing, so I decided to try and make a bit of a strange attack over here that I don't usually go for. But again, they're like gonna be late to this, so if I can get my attack ready fast enough, I might be able to catch them. So there's the attack, and because of that, that's why I was like building this way, and why it's gonna work out essentially. So they build tall to take the garbage, and they may be able to dig. But there's another 2 chain, but this 2 double is too much. 3, and that's good enough. I didn't make space for the piece. Here I wanted to clear the 1 chain so that the yellows can connect, because if I put the yellow on top of the garbage, it wouldn't actually connect. But I didn't want to clear the 1 chain immediately because they might be able to see that I'm gonna go for a 1 chain and like go for this big 2 chain. So instead of clearing it immediately with those blues, I was trying to defend against an attack that might come. So there's the attack, and I don't. Okay, I did see. I was just a bit too slow here, where like I made good decisions, I just didn't make them fast enough, so I continued to fall behind in the round. And then it was just hard to keep up, because like this was a decent counter. It's just I'm like falling behind in resources consistently because I'm slowing down too much. Well, it was a good attempt at a counter from the position, but yeah, I couldn't keep up there. Here we're like even into the multiple stacking. So a good way to see who might be aggressive kind of is like who gets to the multiple stacking part first, because a lot of times people will build attacks and counters there. And if one player is built up there first and the other player isn't there yet, then the player who's there already might look to attack. Here I have this option to attack on the bottom, but I can also convert it into multiple stacking. So I really like this form for that reason, because this would be a really powerful 2-double, but it's not committal. So I could see they could easily set up their main chain, and I didn't think I could outextend it, so I didn't commit to the attack. And here we're again even at the multiple stacking point. And we're kind of doing a similar idea, whereas at similar points now they're probably committing to a 2-double, and you have to be really cautious about that. It's most likely going to be sent. It's very like, so I can make it 3 or 4 chain with the reds. I can make it 3-double with the reds. So it's at this point it's less about trying to figure out how to chain, and now it's more about trying to figure out how to make like a 4 chain or just a counter chain to beat this 2-double that's coming. So I'm not really looking to make a chain anymore, I'm looking to make a counter. So there's some ideas maybe on the tail if I don't draw yellows, or again I could use reds. I could pop these yellows maybe, but that might make it hard with my form. But my main idea is probably these yellows. And here they didn't get the blue they wanted, so they couldn't really send the attack. But I was able to make this 2 chain to counter the 1 chain. It's a lot better than committing to like this yellow trigger, which I didn't have. But if I did have it, I wouldn't really want to commit to that to counter a 1 chain, because that would give them time to like convert this into a 3 or a 4 chain. Like for example, if they put this green yellow here and then trigger the blues, they have a really powerful 4 chain, and you almost just like lose because you sent the 3 chain. So it's a lot better to send like this 2 chain and hold on to these resources to be able to counter their next move if they try something like that 3 or 4 chain. So there's finally the big 2-double that they've been going for this whole round. So it's hard to figure out how to counter, because like if I don't draw the yellows, so I pretty much have to draw the yellows, but the yellow by itself isn't really enough. Like this 3 chain probably loses the round, so I want to commit the reds as well, but I only have this red green, and if I don't split, I'm gonna have to commit main chain. So that's like that's the situation here. So I don't think I like when I watch this back, I can see if I put the red green here and trigger the yellows, I have a 4 chain. But it's tough to see that while playing, so I think I put the red green. Oh, I put it that way. I think this just loses though, because yeah. I also might have placed that upside down. I'm not entirely sure. But there's like a lot going on there where it's like, again, I would say from like from this point I was like not really looking at how to chain, I was looking at how to counter this 2 chain. And then they couldn't get it off very quickly, but they made this 1 chain while waiting, and so I countered with small, and then they got it off, and I messed up this counter. And I lost one. But I'd say as the opponents get stronger, you see a lot more of these kinds of like decisions and interactions. So this time, again, their multiple stacking is late, my multiple stacking is there, and it's in a good shape to attack with. So you can expect that I'm probably going to send this attack. because it looks very advantageous. They also don't really have stuff they can do on the tail very easily either, so it just looks like they're either going to main chain or they're going to lose probably if I send the attack. So here's the attack finally. So I have to be ready though, like I have to decide if I think I can beat their main chain if they set it off, because it's like at a point where it's kind of close. So I have to either wait for them to cover their main chain um, or feel like I have a good enough shape that I could extend it. So I was kind of looking for them to cover their main chain to be able to get into the multiple stacking, but in doing so I like hesitated quite a bit and I allowed them to actually build up a counter. So they just got to 3 double, which is like the exact counter they want in this situation. And I kind of tricked them out by making it 3 double instead of an actual chain. So, like, it looks like it's going to be like a 5 chain, but I cut the greens in a way that's really tricky. So it's only a 3 double. And then I had a chance to win because of that. But still, like, it's pretty... Like, it was pretty likely they could get a dig off, so I was still lucky to win the round. But I gave myself a chance that way. So that was an intentional cut. Like, I was trying to cut the chain so that they had less time. And that was a misdrop. And this round looks like they're going to make a 3 chain or a 3 double. So I tried to like bait them into a 3 chain and send a 4 chain first, because I was already in a bad spot in the round. But they made their 3 double so powerful that it didn't really matter. But I was trying to get them to react incorrectly or something, because otherwise I didn't think I was going to win this round. Here though, I might have had a chance, I just didn't know what. Like, I got pretty close. Oh, here I'm making the 1 chain. And it looks pretty good to just send it, but they're gonna get a chain off. This is still pretty balanced. But as the round goes on, they're gonna get ahead because they have more space. So if I don't do something, then I'll probably lose the round. And I think I just lose. Yeah. So here again, they were kind of slow to the multiple stacking most rounds, at least in the way they were playing this match, which meant that I would have opportunities to look for an attack. Here, I thought they were just going to send their main chain, but they didn't. But again, this is something that I noticed, so I was trying to like press when I had the opportunity, because like, again, they're probably going to try to get into their multiple stacking, which would block their trigger and they wouldn't have a counter. So I was trying to hit that point. But they didn't really get the colors to do that. Now there's other things you can do though, like you can build attacks and counters on the tail and things like that, or break certain parts of your chain in different ways. So multiple stacking isn't the only way to attack or defend, it's just the most common, and it's one of the most effective. Here it looks like, besides the 1 chain, they don't really have much. Oh, now though, they're going to build a big 2 double, so that's like going to be the focus point here. How do you counter that? And I'm trying to counter ahead of time, so I'm sending this to try and counter the 2 double that they're building. So I see this 2 double setup coming, and I'm trying to estimate if I think I can beat it with this 3 chain. And I'm like, I think it'll be enough, so then I send it. But I expect them to get the 2 double off and it'll be pretty even. So here, it's going to be even after all of this. And that 1 chain helps me. Now, this is like a very flexible form that they have where they can make a 3 or a 5 chain. So it's tough to like commit to any big attacks. But we both went to 3, so I guess it's hard to say like what both of us were thinking there exactly at that point. I think I saw them going for the 3, so here's another 3, and then I didn't think I guess, see, I was trying to make this 3 chain, but I didn't see the greens, and I guess I just kind of panicked and sent my main chain. But I was building the 3 chain with the greens. They just didn't extend enough. That 1 chain was pretty good in terms of results for them. But sometimes, like the 1 chains can have a lot of different levels of effectiveness. Here, I think they missed the 2 double part of it, because that makes my attack a bit stronger, so it's enough of an advantage that I might be able to win the round with a follow-up, but they draw the color, but the blue's cut. I didn't see the cut while I was playing, so I was like, now what do I do? Because I was expecting them to get a bigger chain. But I won that round. Here's 2 double. Here I have multiple ways to win this round, so this is why I send it, because I can, like, one of the garbage can block the yellows, and then I pretty much win the round. But if that doesn't happen, they can just not draw 2 yellows, and then I also win the round. So, so it's betting on the odds, but you have 2 ways to win. So it didn't get blocked by the garbage, but they also didn't draw 2 yellows. So I won anyway. Here, get it. These multiple stacking forms can be pretty flexible, so that's why they're so good for attacking and countering. So there's the basic like 3 chain on if you add a green and trigger the purples, or a 4 chain if you trigger with the yellows. But there's this other idea where you go through the reds like this. So now the red trigger is a 3 chain. There's ways to make it 2 double by adding a red in column 2 and triggering on the purples. There's ways to make like a 4 chain if I put this yellow red and then trigger on the yellows, that's a 4 chain. Adding a red would make a 5 chain, adding a red and a green would make main chain. So it's very flexible. There's so many options to look at, but most of these options are defensive because there's not big connections and things popping at the same time. So if you don't have a lot of big connections and a lot of things popping at the same time, then that means your form is probably better used as a defensive form rather than an offensive form. But again, you could make a 2 double, like if I put this yellow red in column 2 and maybe add a red or get a purple green like this one, then I could make a 2 double and it would become an offensive form. So that's why it's like very flexible and very strong for attacking and defending. So here I put the yellow in, and again I have those same options. The 2 double is immediately available. The yellow trigger is a 4 chain, adding red is a 5 chain. So, and there's other ways, like you could put a purple on this yellow and trigger these yellows, or the red below it and make a 3 double. So there's a lot there. But if they trigger this green, it would be a 3 double because the purples would cut. Or they could trigger the purple and a green on top for main chain. So it's not like they're vulnerable, but I tend to like focus too much on if the opponent can set off main chain. So technically, if I can force the opponent to set off main chain in a situation like this, I'm probably at the advantage. But a lot of times I don't believe in myself to be able to make the extension with high enough frequency, so I don't send if I see that they can set off their main chain. With the exact purple red though, they could do a really big 2 double. And they might just do it, like because it's a very powerful attack. So it just kind of came out of nowhere, but that's an option that they have here. And I think they looked at, like, you see them slow down a tiny bit, so I think they really considered it. And then they saw that, like I was saying, if I trigger the yellows, it's 4 chain. So they would be sending into a 4 chain, and that's not good for them. So they would immediately get countered most likely if I just draw another yellow. So it's a big risk. So they didn't send it. But again, they're still keeping their main chain with these reds, so it's not like they were staying flexible and keeping the option open. Here I'm now going to like a 7 chain on this multiple stacking area. So it's no longer good for a defense except against like a very big attack. And now I'm committing main chain because again it wasn't good as a defense, so I'd rather just make a main chain instead of like an awkward 7 chain. So now my goal is to just get a main chain off. And here I think I cut the purples on purpose to try and do an attack. So if they, a lot of times players will try and like, so it looks like I'm committing to main chain. So players will try and make like a 1 chain or a 2 chain as you get to a really difficult part in your build to try and like cause you to fill up just from that. So in order to counteract that, I was like guessing they were going to go for something like that. So instead of making main chain, I made like a 4 double or 4 double 5. But they didn't actually go for that. They just made their main chain. I was like, oh. But I can still win with the extension. And I messed it up. This one I was really close, and I think I should have had it. I just didn't place the pieces in the right spots. Here, their build is awkward, so that means there's a pretty big chance they're going to try and attack and clear the middle of their build so that they can rebuild something that's easier to work with. But as a response, I'm trying to build something, build an attack as well that's bigger than whatever they build, because they don't have anything immediately. So I'm sitting on my option. But it's a bit dangerous to send it because they might be able to make like a really big 3 chain that would counter the 2 chain. So I don't really want to send first here. Like it kind of depends. It's tough. But I decided not to send first So now I'm trying to build something bigger because it looks like, for example, with this blue-yellow, they would have a big 3 double, which would counter a 2 chain or even a 3 chain most likely. So it looks like they're trying to counter what I was going for. So I was trying to counter what it looked like they were going for. They're going for something in the middle, so I was trying to counter that. But they see I'm going for this 2 chain, so they know it's there, so they're trying to counter this big 2 chain, probably. And then I know that they're looking at that, and I see the problem with column 1. They like can't put anything here because it's so like you can't put a green or a blue because it pops immediately. So you have to put a yellow or a purple, and then if you want to chain off of that, you need like multiple yellows and purples, and then you have all these color conflicts to deal with. So it's like you need a lot of specific pieces and exactly those pieces to avoid all the color conflicts. So seeing that, like I think they're overcommitting to countering what I was looking like I was gonna send. So I just immediately put the blue in and then go towards the main chain. But the way that it popped, they actually cleared enough to make it a lot easier to work with. So if I could have sent my thing faster, I would have a better chance. But now, because they cleared a bunch of stuff, it's actually not as hard as it was originally. But it was still a bit difficult, and they also just didn't draw the colors.
Did you enjoy my technique?
So here we're kind of getting into multiple stacking at the same time. Oh, that's interesting. If I drew the purple, so this was a good response from me, I think, because it's hard to see that coming. But a lot of times you still counter things, not necessarily by knowing it's coming. You just find a way to build a chain very quickly. So here I'm looking at the purple trigger, and if I trigger with the purples and then the yellows pop, I can add in either a red or a blue or both to make a very strong 3 chain. So here I add in the red and then I add in the blue. So this would be a really good counter. I just didn't draw the purple. But it was a good idea, and there might have been something else that I could have done that also would have worked. But I think this was a smart idea in this situation. I just didn't draw the color at the end. Yeah, I'm going for the 1 chain. I like these rounds. I remember what happened here. So again, you can't do anything if you don't draw the color. It's just, you just can't send it. But here, finally, I'm drawing the color. But like I said, one of the best ways to counter it is just to build tall in like column 1 and 2. Because even if they get 3 lines of garbage, they have the purple trigger to dig all the way down to the greens. So it's not really a winning play to send the 1 chain. But I see that they're doing this, so I look and like I don't think it's a winning play to send the 1 chain, so then I didn't send it. And then in their mind they still thought, oh, he's gonna send a really big 1 chain and I need to just make sure I don't die to the 1 chain. And so they sent their main chain, but I converted it into an actual chain. So I really like these kinds of pressure builds where you can make the opponent nervous, but they can't just escape by like sending a big chain because you can still send your own big chain. And then pretty soon I think I started like running out of steam and like losing focus, or not being able to play at the same level anymore. And I started not doing as well, or making a lot more mistakes. But up to here, I was playing really well. Oh, where's the red? Here, they've got the 2 double. I can counter on the tell though. So that's what I'm doing. And I can make it 4 with the reds. So again, this one came pretty quickly. So, well, sometimes you counter because you can predict what the opponent will do. Once you get strong enough, you just also are flexible in your play, and you can see different ways to set off a lot of chains. So here, it's not like I predicted that they were gonna send a 2 double. I was just building, and then I saw, okay, a 2 double's coming now. So then I found a way on my board to just make a counter out of what I had. So, and then there's ways to build to kind of increase your chances of being able to make a counter, but a lot of it is just you just find something in the moment when you see the situation happen. So this is exactly what you want. Like, I got lucky to be able to make it into a 4 chain, but even a 3 chain would be good enough to like stay kind of even in the round. With a 4 chain though, I have an advantage. And now the blues cut here, did I know? I think I knew, because I knew my reds cut, but I saw where their blues cut, so I thought I still win. Yeah, because I didn't know, like, as I was setting it off, I was like, oh, the reds cut, but I knew their blues cut, and I was like, I think mine is better anyway. But if it wasn't, I could have just, I could have triggered it with the greens and reds popping, like pop the reds at the same time on the second link. But this was a really good counter, I guess. But I think as the set went on, I started to like get kind of tired or like unable to focus as well, and I started making a lot more mistakes and not seeing things as well. So here, they're just pretty much just main chaining, and I have a defensive form, but again, because it's not like big connections happening at the same time, it's not very good as an offensive form. So it's hard to beat someone who's just main chaining with like a defensive form. So you kind of have to build an attack, but that takes more time if you don't have it there already. And then they might build their own attack in that same time. This is a really good one chain though, to force them to set off their chain. I remember I wanted to do a yellow extension here, like put the yellow on the bottom and then put 2 yellows on top, and then try and maybe block the yellows for another link. So I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. And I put the piece upside down and it just set off my chain. I was like, oh. And I was like, that's not, like, I knew I was going to lose the round because I knew I didn't have enough. I was like, well, I can't. That's not what I wanted to do, but that's what happened. Yeah, I was initially going for an attack, but I didn't get the colors I wanted to build it. But I could see they were doing this awkward build, like this, where it's kind of tough to continue building. So I was like, they might just do something strange, so I'm gonna just immediately counter it with main chain probably. And hope that works. It's not the greatest strategy, but that's what I was gonna do. And I thought about this 3-chain, but they have a 3-chain and can make something bigger. So I was like, I don't think that's the right play here. I had this 3-chain, but now they're gonna main chain, so that's not right. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing this round. But this is where it's like, I think I started to like lose some focus. But here though, I was gonna win the round if I could figure out how to get rid of the yellows. Like I knew the yellows were gonna cut. That's why I was like trying to figure out where to place the yellows so they didn't cut. But I was like, I don't know where to put it. So then I just put it down. And then because the yellows cut, the greens and the blues didn't pop, and I lost the round. But I actually built enough that I think I was going to win the round pretty convincingly if the yellows didn't cut. And I think there were ways I could have just popped the yellows and then set off the chain, or added the yellows as the first link and set off the chain, and then I would have won. But I didn't see it. So this is that same attack that I like, where it's like, it's not really committal, but it's really powerful. So you trigger the greens for the big 2 double, or you convert into multiple stacking on the top, and it's very nice multiple stacking shape. So here I'm really looking at it, but they have the green trigger and the red trigger, so it's not an easy attack. But I remember what happened is I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna send the attack. I'm gonna just build my chain, and I was like, okay, where do I want to put this piece? And I was like, I want to put, and I was like trying to figure out where to put it, and I accidentally put, I was like, I want to use these greens in the tail on top of the reds and the purples. So I was looking at that, and I put the piece down, and I was like, oh wait, it's setting it off. And I was like, oh, it's like I didn't want to do that. So I started making a lot of mistakes like that as the set went on. Here they're doing a big multiple stacking where you trigger the greens and add a purple, and it's 4-chain. Here I'm doing a complicated multiple stacking, like this blue purple makes 5-chain. I assume that's what I'm going for, but I'm gonna double it. This should be winnable. Just need the red. I didn't know where to put the green so it didn't cut, because I knew if I put the blue in column 2, it would cut these blues. And I actually knew that while I was playing, so I didn't put the blue on the bottom. But I didn't want to cut these greens, but I wasn't sure if the green on the bottom would work. But the green on the bottom actually wouldn't work either, because the green would pop here, and then you have 2 blues in column 2, and then the blues cut, and then you probably lose. It's actually kind of close. But I actually saw that while I was playing, so I'm happy about that. Because a lot of times in the past, I would just put the pieces down, and then they would cut, and I'd be, man, I should have won that, but it cut. But I was like, I want to cut these greens, so I should put it here. But then I was like, no, I see this cut all the way down there. And then I was going to put the green on the bottom, but it's like, no, that might cut too. So then I set up this way. So that was a good adjustment. I feel like when I'm like not really focusing well, I can still play and I can still do a lot of things well. It's just I make a lot more silly mistakes or like misdrops or read or just things like that, just small things. Here, can you see the 2 double coming? But this 3 chain is a counter, but it's not that good, so I went for more and made a much stronger counter, but I also used a lot more pre-up. But this should still be an advantage. Looking for a purple, and then a trigger. And this was really solid too. Like that was a really good extension and a good counter. I remember this. It's like I need to trigger the reds. And it's like, well, I have to either draw double red or like slam pieces down the middle to access the red. But then I forgot a red on the tail or on the right side, so I lost anyway. But I would have won if I had the red there. And I With that one, it's like I should have won that round. And I think in the second half there were a lot of rounds like that where it's like I really should have won the round. I just messed something small up. Here I wanted to do the 2 double, but I could see like they've got a defensive form and an easy trigger. Where even if they get unlucky, they can probably dig anyway, and you probably still won't win. So it's like that's how bad the 2 double is in that situation. But it does look like they kind of just chained. There's a 2 double though with double yellow. Oh, I thought I could get it off. These 2 chain counters to the 1 chains aren't really that strong. They're not necessarily bad, but they're not necessarily good either. And this wasn't really a mistake or anything. I wanted to get to the 2 double. So, or I wanted to get the 3 chain on the reds, because it'd be a really strong counter. So I just put pieces down to try and get it, and I didn't draw it. Here's the attack, but it doesn't look very good. There's their attack. They're doing that type of attack where you can either trigger the yellows or do multiple stacking. You can also put the yellow purple to convert it into a new attack. So this is like an idea that I think is really cool. So you have an initial attack on the yellows. And that would be very powerful because the purple is a group of 6. But you can do multiple stacking, but you can do this option too where you like convert this bottom attack into a new attack on the top. So now you trigger the reds for a different 2 double. And again, you have the option to make multiple stacking by triggering the top yellow and then put a red, yellow, purple in column 1 and 2. And then you trigger your main chain. Or you can just put a red and a yellow and make a 4 chain. So I think these shapes are really cool. So there's, I knew it was coming, but if I got lucky, I would have won. But I'm not as good at like countering sometimes when because I went for the awkward opening. Wait.
3, 4.
Actually, like, these rounds look pretty well played.
2, 3.
Maybe not, like, not perfect, but I did pretty well in them.
Oh no! 1, 2. La la la! Dare you! 1, 2. Oh no!
Yeah, I won this one. Here they've got a lot of multiple stacking going on. And they might consider attacking with it. Especially if they get purple-green. No. Do I see the counter? Because if I put red-green and then red-yellow, it's like the perfect counter. But I have a feeling that I didn't see it. I don't actually remember.
1,
Yeah.
2.
I kind of knew. That's what I thought. But when I watch it back, it's like I know what the counter is. You trigger it like this. And it's actually a 2 triple on their side, but they're all groups of 4. So with the big yellow group, you kind of even it out. I think it's about the same. But I didn't see that option. So a lot of like getting to a really high level is being able to see more options with your chains and with the prio you have on your field. So this is one example of that where it's like if I was like really sharp in this moment, then I make this 2 double with the red, green, red, yellow. But it's just hard to see that because I'm looking at the greens and the purples and the red over here to make a 4 chain. And while I'm looking at that, then I lose sight of that. So it's like, that's why, like, that's one of the reasons why some people are a lot stronger. It's like they just see more options that they have. And sometimes, like, you'll see the one they go for, but they were also looking at a different one if that one didn't come. So here I just messed up the opening, like didn't place pieces in the right spot. Like I meant to put that in column 2 and I put it in column 1. It's like, but building out that, like, this is fine. They're gonna send a 2 chain. I'm trying to make a 2 chain. And if I happen to draw purple yellow, it's really big. 2 double. There's the 1 instead of 2. I don't think I should just.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's kind of like sometimes I get too kind of like antsy, like just here I could have just sent the 3 chain.
1, 2, 3,
But
4.
when I look back at it though, it's like
1,
I don't feel like I played these rounds that poorly. So I feel like maybe it was a little bit less sharp as I was in the first half, but it doesn't look too bad. Here, I'm kind of limited in my options. So I'm gonna do this and force it 2 double here, and I think they saw it.
2.
What should I have done? Because I was trying to make a 2 double to try and force them to send their main chain. So I had to see in advance that it was a purple blue and put the double reds flat. And then I could put the purple blue and split it. And if I do that, then it's only a 2 double.
1.
But when it gets closer to the top of the screen, one of my weaknesses is that I can't really make those adjustments anymore. Like, that's something that I could have done if I was like a stronger player. And I could have seen the purple blue coming and then use the reds to cover the blue so that I can trigger the purple blue without popping them both at the same time. But because the pieces come down, you place the pieces so much faster at the top of the screen. It's a lot harder to make those decisions in time. And because I didn't do that, I sent a 5 chain instead of a 2 chain, and then I didn't have enough to counter. Like, I knew it wasn't enough, so like sending with the red just is very much not enough. Here, this is another nice option to know of where you do this, and then if you put a purple on top of the blue, you make a 2 double when you trigger the blue, but you also have the option to put a blue on top of that purple and trigger the purples, and then you have a defensive shape that can make like a 4 chain or a 5 chain pretty easily. So it's a nice option for attacking and defending. Here's another way to convert out of it, but it doesn't really have the aggressive options. So now you just put a red on top of the blue in column 2, and you have a 4 chain defense. So a lot of the builds you'll see the really strong players use, they just make multiple stacking in their builds that automatically has like 3 and 4 chain options built in, like this. So that's why they don't necessarily always have to predict that an attack is coming, they just have counters built in as like part of their build essentially. So it's less a game of like guessing what the opponent's gonna do, and it's just like you can react to it when it happens. This was a really fast decision and a really strong decision because it's like this one though, I'm pretty sure I just kind of knew what they were gonna do because I made the decision so quickly and it was a really good decision. So when they put that red, it becomes a 3 double when they trigger the yellows. So when I add this red, I have a 5 chain.
1, 2, 2, 3, 4.
This one I definitely should have won. And I should have. What should I have done? I should have. Yeah, okay. I wanted to tell, I just didn't know how to do it. And it's like. I think I didn't realize how big their chain was either. And if I just set mine off, I probably would have won, maybe? I'd have to look at it again. That's a really fancy way to play it. So I have the blue trigger for a 3 chain, but the purple trigger is also a 3 chain, and there's ways to make a 3 chain off of a yellow trigger. Like this yellow trigger with the blue is a 3 chain, the purple trigger is a 3 chain. So there's a lot there. But here I just needed to get it blues. I didn't realize it had to be blues. I was like, I can't put a green in column 2, and then I can't put a yellow in column 2, and I can't put a purple in column 2. So I have to put a blue in column 2, but I didn't notice that. So then I was like, I need to put something in column 2, but this piece doesn't work, and this piece doesn't work, and this piece doesn't work. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do. This piece doesn't work, and this piece doesn't work. And I was like, what? And then I just lost. But now, when I can pause, I see the only color that works is blue. So I wasn't like thinking about what color I could use. I was like, does this piece work? I was like, no, this piece doesn't work. I was like, no, this piece doesn't work. No, this piece doesn't work. I was like, what? I don't get it. I was like, okay, now I get it. And the tell was incorrect. But this person came into the match rated like 3,300, and their results in the previous matches in this group make them look really strong. So, let's see. Yeah, they were 33-30. So, like, given that I was like keeping it that close for that long, I really feel like I had a chance to win the match. I just like wasn't able to maintain like the same level of play throughout the entire match. And hopefully it's something I can like improve on, because I think I'm figuring out some things with my diet that are affecting me. So if I can get that under control, I might just feel a lot better in general. So hopefully that will help. But anyway, that's all for this video.